After Vasseur's comments, Charles Leclerc received some terrible news, and it appears that his situation isn't ideal right now. Monegasque's contract with Ferrari expires at the conclusion of the 2024 season, and the club does not consider it a priority to continue working with him. In this video, we'll take a look at why Ferrari's boss slammed Leclerc prior to the new F1 season. The new Ferrari team principal, Fred Vasseur, has informed Charles Leclerc that he will not begin the season as the company's #1 driver. Following the resignation of Mattia Binotto, Frenchman Vasseur has been tasked with ending Ferrari's championship drought, which dates back to Kimi Raikkonen's title triumph in 2007. Leclerc began last year as a genuine challenger to Red Bull's Max Verstappen, but his campaign faded due to a series of mechanical and strategic errors. Within Ferrari, Leclerc is regarded as the guy most likely to lead the team's push, but Vasseur assures he will not be given preferential treatment over teammate Carlos Sainz. "It's an obvious scenario," Vasseur said, speaking to the media for the first time since taking over at Maranello. "We have two extremely good drivers who are both capable of doing the job. We will be able to give them the same car, structure and assistance. The goal is to win with Ferrari and for Ferrari, with no #1 and #2. But if we have to take action at some point, I will take action, regardless of whether it is for one driver or the other." Leclerc won 2 of last year's first 3 races, but only 1 more in the remaining 19 races, finishing the season 146 points behind Verstappen. Ferrari was also 205 points behind Red Bull in the constructors' standings. But Vasseur is sure that the Italian team will be able to compete with Verstappen and Red Bull when the new season begins on March 5th in Bahrain. When you are at a top team, you cannot have any other goal than to win, the former Alfa Romeo team principal remarked. "You can't start the season with the goal of finishing second. That demonstrates a lack of ambition. We have everything we need to perform a good job, and the goal is to win the championship and to win the title. You have to defeat Red Bull, and I am confident we have everything we need to win." A penalty for Charles Leclerc cost him a place in the Japanese Grand Prix, giving Verstappen the points advantage he needed to be crowned world champion in 2022. Mattia Binotto has pledged to fight the stupid decision to levy a 5-second time penalty on Charles Leclerc for his overzealous defending against Sergio Perez in the closing embers of the Japanese Grand Prix. Few expected Max Verstappen to be named champion in Suzuka as he crossed the finish line. He had not received the extra point for fastest lap, therefore even though full points were awarded for a shortened race, it was assumed that Leclerc had delayed his coronation by crossing the line second. However, the Monegasque was only able to accomplish so after a last lap struggle with Perez. He drove the Red Bull wide on the final bend to ensure he stayed ahead, but the stewards weren't impressed. Leclerc was given a 5-second time penalty nearly immediately. It meant Perez had to settle for 3rd place in the race, meaning he could no longer run mathematically, catch Verstappen in the drivers' rankings. Replays of the incident revealed that it was a rather simple case, explaining the stewards' swift conclusion. However, Binotto was enraged and wondered why the punishment was handed down so swiftly when there have been several previous examples of large delays while evidence is processed. How quickly FIA took the decision to fine Leclerc, it is ludicrous and unacceptable, the enraged team principal told Sky Italy. "It took them an infinite number of laps last race to make a nonsensical decision. We will file a formal objection with the proper authorities. Any such complaint will probably definitely be ignored, given how strongly he was required to defend his position and prior precedents set by comparable rule violations." Leclerc's sentence appeared to be reasonable. Although Car 16 Leclerc did not gain a position by running off track, the stewards noted in a statement. This judgment takes into account the numerous driver briefings where race officials advised that the advantage would be regarded as obtained if you fall off track and return in the same position while defending. This year has seen a number of precedents, most notably Zhu Guanyu in Saudi Arabia and Fernando Alonso in Miami. The imposition of the punishment so soon after the race, along with a lack of clarity about whether or not full points would be granted, created some uncertainty about whether or not Verstappen had become champion. Even the Dutchman wasn't sure, having to ask, "Are you sure?" after being told he was champion. In the midst of a team orders dispute at the Prancing Horse, former F1 driver Emmanuel Pirro has said Ferrari should not favour Charles Leclerc. Last season, ex-boss Mattia Binotto refused to prioritise Leclerc since he retained equal footing at the Scuderia. However, it is believed that this maneuver resulted in the end of Binotto and Leclerc's relationship as Max Verstappen and Red Bull strolled to victory. However, new team captain Frédéric Vasseur has been advised to be firm in order for the team to achieve the best possible outcomes. He also urged Leclerc to make the difference himself rather than requesting favours. Pirro told Corriere dello Sport, "It depends on the drivers you have available. The issue does not arise in Red Bull since Verstappen is so much stronger than Perez. With teammates who may be compared today, such as Hamilton Russell or Leclerc Sainz, the team principal must encourage those who are more in difficulty, similar to a parent supporting a weaker child. Furthermore, in key moments, the champion has that extra spark that makes the difference." Ferrari stated last season that they were willing to apply team orders at some point, but never did. Despite previously dominating the British Grand Prix, Leclerc was stated to be disappointed after slipping back to P4. He dropped down the grid because Ferrari neglected to prioritise him, allowing Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton to pass. Following the checkered flag, Leclerc was spotted talking with Binotto before the team manager shaking his finger in the Monegasque's face. Even before a single lap of the 2023 Formula 1 season has been completed, let alone a race result, Ferrari team chief Fred Vasseur has been asked twice to pin his colours to the mast, Charles Leclerc or Carlos Sainz. He chose neither, insisting that it is too early to favour one driver over the other. But, he concluded the first time, "If we have to take action at some point, I will take action." He ended the second time with, "And if at some point I have to take action for Carlos or Charles, I will do it. It's a decision that, if made, will have long-term ramifications." Binotto should have followed the urge to back Leclerc after he won 2 of the first 3 races and raced out to a 34-point lead over his nearest challenger, 60-odd points ahead of Max Verstappen. By the time Verstappen took the lead in Spain 3 races later, Binotto should have reconsidered his position. If Ferrari is able to overcome last year's problems this season, and it's a big if, then new team principal Vasseur needs to pick a number 1, and fast, since Red Bull has theirs, and it's the driver with the large one on his vehicle. If a team wants to compete for the Drivers' Championship, it must have one of 2 things: a number 1 driver, like Red Bull has, or by far the most dominant car on the grid, so that the teammates can share the results, as Mercedes has for several years. Ferrari does not have either of these currently, given that the Scuderia is unlikely to field a car that will annihilate the competition this season. They must go with number 1 driver option, but whoever they support, they should probably expect the other to be gone by 2025. Losing Leclerc, a driver who many in the paddock believe has the potential to win 2 or 3 world championships, would be a significant setback for Ferrari. He came up through the ranks as a junior, is well liked by the team and the Tifosi, and is a proven race winner who can also do the job in qualifying. The decision to keep him in 2025 may hinge on this season, and whether Vasseur will back him and him alone for the Drivers' Championship. Simply, Ferrari needs Leclerc to stay longer than they do Sainz, while Vasseur claims that deciding on a number 1 is not something he wants to do today. He may have to do it tomorrow. And with that being said, it's time to end our video. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you with another interesting video.